We'll now go to 12.0, which is one of our favorite points of our meeting. We're going to turn it over to Dr. Little for his superintendent's report. Board, these are not action items. These are just for review. So, Dr. Little?
So I think what you have in our superintendent's report tonight are three updates that we think are going to be of high interest to you and where we are and where we're going. Not long ago, we went to Pillion Middle School and experienced firsthand the Rolling Study Halls initiative that we have. That's a partnership with Google and the Dynamic Learning Project. And so tonight, I believe Howard Bissell is here to give us an update on those Rolling Study Halls and to kind of share with us where we are and perhaps lay the groundwork for where we want to be.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Little. I am excited this evening to provide an update on the Rolling Study Hall. As Dr. Little mentioned, it's made possible to us through a partnership with Google and the Consortium of School Networking. Let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. There we go. Thank you. We had an event in January, and some of you were able to attend, and I'm very, very happy that you were. And our goal there was to provide a simulation of what our students who participate in this program experience on a daily basis, to provide an opportunity for us to interact with those students a little bit, and also to welcome Superintendent Molly Spearman to be part of the programming, as well as Dr. Little to provide some comments. But really was excited to include the students in that and have them be available to speak with you all and those participating to provide some perspective on as to what it is they experience on a day-to-day basis and participating on this program or within this program. I have a short video for you that our communications department has put together to kind of provide an overview of that in case you weren't able to participate. I'd like to share that with you.
I think everybody should have internet on their bus. It proved like I can do like Alex, IXL, work on my projects and stuff.
Some students have a really long ride to and from school, so having that opportunity to have someone who's pouring into you on your bus ride, you're really changing the scope and nature of students' mindset around their academic experience by adding that to their ride home.
If you think about being on the bus for an hour and a half a day each way, that's 15 hours a week that you're spending time on the bus. If you were able to get 15 hours of your time back, that is a huge plus for our students, is a huge plus for our families.
It felt better because sometimes like my grades kind of flop, but then like when I feel like when I have Miss Haroff on the bus, it feels like more comforting to feel like I can achieve more.
So a pretty powerful testimony from the student there right at the end. I think it really highlights something that we realized as we got into this program is that providing advocacy for students on those buses outside of their normal school day has been a big plus for us. And it really just feeds into what is really a simple overarching goal for us, which is to increase access and opportunity for students who otherwise might not have that opportunity, to increase the access to connectivity when they're just simply spending several hours over the course of a week between school and home, and giving them a chance to stay caught up on their work. We have a little bit of student feedback. I want to share with you. We polled a sample of students who ride these buses, and one of the questions that we asked them was to really just weigh in on whether or not the internet access that they're receiving on those buses is better than what they receive at home. And we see a majority of the students responded that, in fact, it was. We have some students that have better connectivity at home, just plain and simple. But I think what's interesting is when you look at the next question that we posed, you see a larger number of students do in fact agree that the internet access that they have on the bus is helping them to stay caught up with their assignments. So regardless of their connectivity status while they're at home, students are in fact leveraging the connectivity on the bus to stay in tune with what's going on in the classroom and those expectations. And I think another important point here is reflected in this last question from the student survey. Has the rolling study hall helped you to become a more successful student? And we have a large majority of students replying in the affirmative there. And I think it speaks to the power of this program to empower students to take their academic success into their own hands and give them an opportunity when otherwise they would be without access to the tools that they might need to stay on top of those things in the classroom. So that's some student feedback. I think it's important. One last thing to note is that at the end of the semester, we took and pulled data from for all of the students that are riding these 6 school buses and took a look at where their grades in the classroom at the end of semester 1, and we see that nearly 3/4 of the students that are riding these buses are in fact passing all of their core courses as of the end of the first semester. So I think that's a pretty positive piece. Of course, some room to grow there, and that leads us to really our next steps, where we want to work with the school, coordinate with the school to identify where it's are and which students still require some support, and then coordinate with the classroom teachers and the 2 buses to provide that support before we close out the end of the year and see if we can't close that gap a little bit further. So that concludes mine this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just remind us again about the cost of this and how we're funding that, Mr. Bissell.
Sure. The cost is 0 to us right now, and that's made available to us through the grant offered by Google and the Consortium for School Networking. And so they sponsored the hardware to install on the buses, the installation fees, as well as the monthly fee for the internet service that runs on those buses.
And they provided the Chromebooks as well, right?
No, ma'am.
Those were ours.
We use our devices. We were actually able to include more students in the pilot by not accessing the Chromebooks or taking advantage of those Chromebooks.
Right. Okay.
And am I right that there is an instructional assistant on the bus with them?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually a certified teacher, and they ride on a fairly consistent schedule on each of those buses to build relationship with those students, and they can provide specific support in their area of expertise. But generally speaking, they just help to keep the kids on track and provide whatever support they can.
And remind us again why we chose Pillion to do this pilot.
Yeah, that's a great question. Because these bus routes that we selected run upwards of 90 minutes a day, anywhere between an hour and 90 minutes. And so when you have that type of time on the road, that would be where we can get the biggest return on our investment for the installation of that technology.
Any questions or comments, board?
Have you, I appreciate the student poll. Have you polled parents about their, are they seeing an improvement in study habits at home, or is it really helping their family time at home because the students are doing their homework before they get there?
No, that's a great question. We actually have not polled parents, but we'll definitely include that for our end of the year data poll. We have reached out to others involved, and it seems to be a really positive added bonus across the board. But that's a great point, and that would be great information to pull in at the end of the year.
We're the only one in South Carolina right now, aren't we? Or is there someone else?
I believe there were, I think Berkeley County had started this a couple years ago, but I don't know if they're continuing with that or not. Okay. I think that we're the most recent to come on in South Carolina.
And Dr. Little, I think you heard about this at a conference, and that's how we were aligned with this program.
Yes, ma'am. It's, well, it really, a couple of different directions. That was part of it, with our relationship with the League of Innovative Schools. But we also, and I'll give Howard and company a lot of credit here, it really was an extension of the digital learning project. And I mean, I really think what happened, my impression was that we were such good partners in the digital learning project, Google said, hey, we've got these extra resources, are you interested? And when Google calls you and asks you if you're interested, I can tell you what the correct answer is. Yes, you're absolutely interested in partnering with Google and that type of relationship. So we're excited about the possibility. Remember, this is a pilot. So one of the things that we're going to have to talk about moving forward is these aren't the only rural bus routes that we have. And so we need to talk about, that's why we're trying to capture the impact, because then you start talking about other other rural long bus trips in other parts of our community that we will also need to take a look at and think about expansion if that's where if we're really seeing a lot of a bang for our buck in that experience as well. So, God bless the teachers who ride the school buses and are looking at screens and helping teachers. I would be so car sick in about the first 30 minutes that you'd never see me again. They'd say, Dr. Little's in the back seat. He's laying down sick. But so it's so exciting to know that our teachers are giving, again, to speak to our teachers, they're giving of their time, their energy, and their effort after school on the bus. And we certainly try to, we provide pay for that. But they're certainly giving much more to us, I think, than we are to them for sure.
As a part of the grant, were you provided numbers for what it costs to outfit a bus and kind of ongoing cost?
Yeah, so we have all that information as part of what they've provided.
Any other questions or comments, board?
So later we'll evaluate and maybe make a decision about expanding that program.
Correct. That's what our idea is. When we started planning this thing, and I won't step on Howard's feet here, but when we started planning this thing, we looked at it as the possibility of a high yield strategy, especially for our students that are perhaps more impoverished. I talk about if you've ever had a long commute, and my brother just recently was commuting an hour and 20 minutes-ish to work every single day. He then moved 10 minutes away from his school. He is a high school principal. Think about how much of his day he just got back. Hours in the day that you get back. And so if you're on the bus even for an hour, you've just added to and from school twice, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's 10 hours. That's a lot of time spent on the bus, and we think we can maximize that time a little differently and hopefully turn that into some more productivity as opposed to just ride time. And we think that's good. We think it's good for our families. You have kids coming home and have their homework completed. How great is that? I don't know if y'all, I deal with a 16-year-old and a 9-year-old every night. If the homework's done when they walk in the door, what a difference the night is. Certainly in our house, we feel that way.
Ms. Garris, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Okay, board, thank you. Thank you.
you very much.
Thank you, Howard. Okay, we'll now go to Beechwood Middle, right?
Certainly, absolutely. So a lot of conversation tonight about Beechwood Middle. So I invited our principal-to-be, Gloria Jenkinson, forward to give us an update on Beechwood Middle, and we think we've got some exciting news for you, and especially about, look at that wonderful logo, and I am particularly partial to the school colors.
I know you are.
So just as an aside. So we'll hear more about that, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. Board, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this evening and to update you on one of the most exciting things that's happening right now in our district. We are thrilled by the progress of the facility. We drive by kind of on an obsessive basis to see how it's progressing. And at our headquarters at the Operations Center, we have been busy with hiring, ordering materials, and just that planning process to make sure that we have a really successful opening of school for 2019-20. Even though the zoning is not finalized, we've still been able to connect with our potential feeder schools in our community. And the best part has actually been our visits to the elementary schools and talking to our 5th graders and to the middle schools, to Pleasant Hill and to Lexington Middle, and talking to our student council representatives and just hearing their voice. They were instrumental in helping us select our school colors and our mascot, which we'll announce in just a few moments. Again, that's just when we really get excited when we see those faces. That's mine.
You have to use the microphone for the recording device. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. There we go. All right, so like I said, the best part has been just seeing those faces of those students. Can't wait for the first day of school in August when those teachers, parents, and students just come through our doors. As I said, thanks to our student voice, we have selected our school colors. They are midnight navy and Columbia blue, and you'll see them represented here on our academic
Is that what we call
crest.
that color? Columbia blue? Okay, just
Columbia
checking.
blue,
I'm
Dr.
I
Little.
didn't
Yes,
realize that's what we
sir.
called that color. All right.
I'm going to be
Here
very
in,
suspicious
South
if our
Carolina.
schools over the next 5 years all have that blue in them. I'm just going to,
that little dumb footprint with
Yeah.
black thing on it.
the little, yeah.
If you announce that as the mascot, Ms. Jenkinson, I will be very concerned.
Yeah, no. You'll be suspicious about the student voice part, then, won't you? All right, very good. These colors, like I said, were in huge part based on our student voice, but the beauty of them is that they really complement the architectural choices of the facility, and they just makes for some pretty sweet swag and uniforms too. The work to date has been very smooth, and I want to take a moment to thank all of our central services folks for the support that you give us on a regular basis. So thank you for that. Which button? This button? Oh, thank you. Our work has been rooted in the district strategic plan to empower each child to design the future. And with each step we take, we're measuring against our system commitments to ensure that we're furthering our mission and vision to cultivate a caring community where all learners are extraordinary communicators, collaborators, creators, and critical thinkers. Beechwood will open its doors as an International Baccalaureate Middle Years Program candidate school with a partnership with Code to the Future. So we'll have that focus on computer science. The IB Middle Years Program and Code to the Future really complement and amplify each other due to their strong focus on inquiry-based learning, problem-based, and service-oriented learning, the authentic real-world connections, and skills and applications as well. And it really honors the fact that many of our students who are coming to us from the 5th grade have been at coding immersion schools at New Providence and also at Rocky Creek. And so it allows us to really individualize for those students who have that background and also for those that don't. And we'll have the opportunity to make those real world connections. Again, all students will be given the opportunities to pursue their gifts, whether it's academics, athletics, or the arts, and they will all have an adult advocate and be given voice and choice at Beechwood Middle. So essentially, we are committed to everyone having a place to belong in our Beechwood family. In regards to our partnerships with our community, we're currently working, as I mentioned, with the proposed elementary and middle school feeders to ensure that we've got those vertical partnerships. And once rezoning is approved, we're going to start gathering even more parent and community voice. We're presenting at a parent ambassadors meeting in March and also at other community organizations to start getting the word out and really branding Beechwood and all of the great things that are happening in our district. In fact, we've been able to make some connections with some future Beechwood parents who have chosen Lexington School District 1 specifically because of its schools. One parent in particular is moving from abroad. He's a U.S. government employee, and he chose Beechwood and Lexington High School specifically for the IB Middle Years Program and Diploma Program. And so they're coming to tour in February at the end of the month, and we're so excited. But that's just one example of the many parents who are just drawn to us because of the amazing programs that we do offer in Lexington 1. All right, in regards to our mascot, we have worked very closely, as I said, with our proposed feeders to honor that student's choice for the mascot. We went to the schools, we did a brainstorming protocol, and then some tuning protocols with the 5th graders, and they were so excited, and we were so excited to be there with them. And after all precincts reported and student voice was heard, we're now able to proudly announce to you that Beechwood Middle School will be the home of the Beechwood Bengals. Yay! Thank you so much. That's it. Woohoo! And on that, I'm going to drop the mic.
Is
don't do that.
is the Bengal indigenous to South Carolina? I'm teasing. Well, I'm excited.
Well, one of the connections there for the cat family, I believe, was one of the reasons. So you got the Cougars, Wildcats, and Bengals now. I knew that would be exciting. That was good, great stuff. Thank you, Ms. Jenkinson. We look forward. We'll hear from you probably in the next month or so, and we'll do another update probably in a couple of months if you don't mind. That'd be great.
And maybe when it warms up and it dries out, maybe we can schedule another tour, because it's been a few months since we've been out there, and kind of see the progress on the inside as well.
Yeah, Mr. Salters, if you would help us schedule that, we can certainly make that happen in the next little bit.
And to feed off of the discussion about the cats, just wanted to mention, in case you didn't know, that the Lexington Wildcats are now 29-0. So
they won tonight. That's good stuff.
Could I ask, for a point of privilege, and ask Ms. Jenkinson to introduce her assistant principal, who I know has been working really hard with her? Thank you.
Yes, it is an honor to introduce Brent Foxworth. He is a Beechwood assistant principal and has been working right alongside of me, making amazing decisions, athletics, instruction, facilities, all that good stuff. So.
And go ahead and stand up and wave. And you have, I believe, somebody in the back row here too. Coach.
And honestly, getting Coach Smallin is like getting better than Steve Spurrier. I mean, really, his prestige and reputation precedes him, so that's pretty exciting.
All right, Mr. Salters with an operations update.
All right, we'll take a brief virtual tour of the middle school. It'll be a little bit drier than it would be if you're on the site, because shockingly, it did rain again out there today. We making great progress despite the weather conditions in the rainforest that is Beechwood Middle School. You can see this is the front entry of the school, and you can see the white roofing areas are all completed roof. We have a few areas that are still yet to have the cap sheet put on, but we're making great progress with the roofing. Everything in the main areas of the school are in the dry now. We have windows in. You see the classroom wings here. Windows in, and air conditioning, or in this case heating, is actually running in some of the spaces, beginning to dry the building out, getting ready for the finishes and floors to go down. We did have a initial overhead inspection today of these classroom wings and the main corridor area there from the Office of School Facilities, which is always an exciting experience, similar to going to the dentist and getting a crown. But we have our to-dos, and we're very, very excited about moving forward with that. So we're making really good progress on the site. This is the chiller being set in the back of the cafeteria area, the main chiller there. So that's really, really a good step forward. This is inside in one of the corridors. You can see the ceiling grid is installed, and that is the case in the classroom wings and the center commons area. And we were looking at everything above the ceiling today as part of our inspection before ceiling tile begins to get dropped in. This is one of the science wings, science labs, excuse me. I don't envy Ms. Jenkinson when she goes to assign teachers to the classrooms, because there are a number of classrooms that have really nice views of the community, so she's going to have fun with that. This is the cafeteria, and looking out into the courtyard, there will be some outdoor seating in this space for students. Again, another view of that courtyard. You're looking over at the gymnasium area and some PE classrooms, and then art classrooms over here, and then this is the media center to the right. An internal look here from the second story of the cafeteria. You see we do have the glass in now, and these are your serving lines. We'll have a closer look at those here in just a few minutes. Stairwell, typical stairwell at the end of the classroom wing. There's a shot of some of that glass being put in the media center. And then this is your center commons area. There's a lot of stuff going on here. This is going to be your office area, main office area, hallway down to the gymnasium and arts areas. And then this is your media center, main stairwell to go up to the second floor. This is a shot of the kitchen area and those serving lines. The tile is on the walls now. It has that, is it midnight blue, I think was the color? Midnight navy, excuse me. It's very similar to midnight navy to match the school colors there. Wall tile all around. There's actually tile on the floor, and they've laid the wood down to protect it as well. The hood is in place and ready for inspection, and also the cooking equipment to go underneath it in the kitchen area. And again, the shot of those serving lines. We'll have cashiers, and there'll be serving equipment along these low walls here for students to come in and get their food. This is the gymnasium area. Not quite as far along on this side of the building. The focus has been on the classroom wing, office area, and cafeteria. We'll pick up on this in the next month after we get past some inspections on the left side of the building. This is a storage building that's outside the back of the cafeteria area. Storage is always a concern for our schools. They have a challenge with storing lawn equipment, gasoline, and then just other general supplies that are needed. So we have this building that'll be used, I'm sure, extensively by the school, and then it's located adjacent to the athletic field. So Coach Smallin will be able to use this as well for some football storage and other storage that's available out there. And so with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We are on schedule and still looking to open in August, and we'll move the office staff in probably late May, early June, and then the bulk of the furniture and so forth will start coming in early July, and we'll be ready to have all of the staff in there.
Board, are there any questions or comments? Just as a reminder, I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it out loud. That is the prototype we'll be using for Pelion Middle as well, correct?
That is correct. That school design will be used at Pelion Middle School and at Lexington Middle School as well. Great. Yeah, so it'll be used 2 more times.
And the equipment building, as part of the facilities plan, we're adding those at the other middle schools, isn't that?
Actually, we're adding those at a number of our campuses that don't have them across the district. So elementary and middle schools will be included in that as well. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other comments or questions, Board? Okay. Anything else on your report, Dr. Little?
We have one other thing. We just wanted to show you just a draft of meeting dates, I believe. If you'll take a look at those, I believe we're just going to, we'll have a second read on that, so whatever feedback you got. But
so if you have any suggestions for feedback, and we did plug in the second meetings for the months that we had done, we were trying that this year. So if that's something that you want to do again, you can see what those dates are. And this is not all-inclusive because it would be missing some of the budget dates that we, further out we would set. So there might be another one in April, something like April 28th, and then June might have another 1 or 2, depending on what happens in the budget in that year.
Okay. So, and we'll be voting on that next month?
Yes, second reading next month.
Okay. Anything else?
that is all I have.
And if I may take a point of privilege, your board has been very busy. Last week, we were invited to Red Bank Elementary for just an absolutely wonderful tour. And I just want to thank them for hosting us. It's just, when you go in and you see the children in the classrooms, it's just a wonderful experience. We also were invited to Gilbert High School for an exploratory learning session last night that was led by the students. That was a wonderful night. And I want to personally thank Mr. Pender. He invited the board to the Counselors and Career Specialist Recognition Luncheon. And as you know, our board has put a focus this year on mental wellness. And it was so, just to see the room full of people that work with our children on a daily basis and really help them was just, thank you, Mr. Pender. That was very moving and such a nice luncheon. And then, last but not least, we had a breakfast last week with the Lexington Chamber where they recognized our schools and our school board. And we just really want to thank them for continuing to be our business partner. And it meant so much that they did their due diligence and that they supported us on the bond resolution. So we live in a wonderful community and we have so many wonderful schools, students, parents, everybody. So it's just been a real good couple of weeks. So just want to let you know about that. Board items 13.0 are for your information only, and 14.0 is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? So moved. Thank you, Dr. Powers. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Green. All in favor, please stand up, and it's unanimous.